we really do not want to know who has donated whom what amount. Let the confidentiality remain complete except under the court order. I'll say, my lord, as and when, my lord, that a part of the scheme comes.
But that, Mr. Solicitor, you know anyway who has donated what amount. The moment an electoral bond is tendered to a political party by a constituent,
the party would know.
The party knows it.
Correct, my lords. What the donor doesn't want is the other party should not know. My lord, kindly, my lord, appreciate the example which, my lord, which will be comfortable to Mr. Sibal. I'm just on the lighter side. Suppose, my lord, as a contractor, I donate to, say, Congress party. I don't want BJP to know because it might form a government in the next election.
I've forgotten I'm not in the Congress party.
You appear for a Congress person from Madhya Pradesh, and therefore I'm saying.
You are appearing for a government, you're not part of that party.
Absolutely not.
So I'm also not
No,
part
I am just putting myself as a contractor.
That example I thought was a bit.
Yes, yes. My learned friend's client is a leader of a Congress party.
That's all right.
In Madhya Pradesh. Therefore, I'm giving the example of Madhya Pradesh, and I'm saying that a contractor wants to donate to Congress would have an apprehension that BJP might continue to be in power, or vice versa. If he gives donation to the ruling party in Madhya Pradesh, he might have a element of fear that Congress might form the government. That confidentiality the donor wants to ensure. And that is not for me to judge. That is for the lawmakers to judge. And the lawmakers felt in the parliament that this is the most incentivized way of black money generation and black money payment in the political process. That's their view.
But what about the voters' right? As Justice Chagla has pointed out,
my lord, let me conclude.
Long years back.
My lord, that is a wider choice, my lord. But that would be a separate debate. My lord, voters' right, my lord, is to know what party gets what information. I would not choose to vote for a particular party because Mr. X, the contractor, has given electoral contribution to a party. Well, that's an utopian dream. That's an idealistic dream. We have to formulate a policy based on practicalities involved. Well, otherwise, we will not be able to, my lord, your lordships have a very heavy responsibility on your lordship's shoulders. That is encouraging clean money to come into the system and discouraging those elements which compelled the people to use the black money. So, my lord, the transparency, democratic principles, right to know, etc., they are idealistic things, and I bow down to those principles. But when we formulate a policy, we must formulate a policy which balances purity of election is supreme over right to know. Voter votes not based upon which party is funded by whom. Voter votes based upon the ideology of the party, the principles of the party, the leadership of the party, the efficiency of the party, and how, my lord, the business houses vote, whether this party's government is giving me a sufficiently good environment to secure my investment. It's not always quid pro quo. As a businessman, I would choose that this party government, whenever it is formed, there is red tapeism, there is corruption, there is interference by the ministers, there is interference by the MLAs. As against that, X party, when it forms the government, it is policy-based decisions, not individual-based decisions. My investment is secured. There is a business-friendly environment, less red tapeism, and therefore I would like this government to be formed. And that's the business interest of every business owner. I'll read further, because the Honorable Finance Minister was also very categorical that we are not coming out with a foolproof scheme. There may be some lacunas here or there, and we are ready to improve. Please see. In fact, I have read that While all the three methods involve clean money, the first two are totally transparent, and the electoral bond scheme is a substantial improvement in transparency over the present system of non-transparency. Please see, my lord, this is what, my lord, the honest government, my lord, framing a policy for the betterment of the people and in larger public interest would say and rarely says. This is what the Honorable Finance Minister said. The government is willing to consider all suggestions to further strengthen the cleansing of political funding in India. It has to be borne in mind that impractical suggestions will not improve the cash domination system. They would only consolidate it. Lord, the words are, if I may use the expression, prophetic. That this is substantially, we are trying to reduce the element of black money, clean money coming in the system. There may be lacunas. We are ready for suggestions. We are ready for improvement. But if the suggestions, as the Honorable Minister says, are not practical, it would defeat the object. Now, my lord, coming back to my note, my lord, at page 24.
Volume?
My lord, 2A.
Yes.
Lord, your lordships may now kindly come to 25. I'll explain the scheme. And my lord, possibly, at least I will be able to satisfy your lordships to convey that bona fides of the government are writ large, and from one or two suggestions which I will make, your lordship's conscience would be satisfied that scheme is designed to ensure that the ruling party knows. It's not even the intention. The ruling party doesn't want. That's the stand of the government. Whoever is the ruling party should not know about any of the details which others are not knowing. Who donated, to whom, what amount, the ruling party should not know. And I will not point it out. And if necessary, my lord, I have some suggestion, my lord, which may, my lord, perhaps, my lord, subject to your lordship being satisfied, take care of your lordship's concerns.
Mr. Solicitor, is it your contention that under this scheme, the ruling party does not know who its donors are?
No. The party every party knows who their respective donors are.
Yes.
Yeah, my lord, the confidentiality is from other party, my lord. I'm sorry, my lord, I am unable to convey the heart of the matter. My lord, if I donate to Congress, the Congress knows Tushar Mehta has donated.
Right. But you don't,
My worry
you
is
don't want another party to know.
BJP should not know so that I don't get victimized. Well, that's the purpose of confidentiality. My lord, technically I can say, my lord, Mr. Bhushan has given this example that even ruling party can, any party, my lord, why ruling party, any party can feign ignorance. That somebody came and in my Dropbox not in the digital sense, in the ballot box, in the postal box, there was an envelope. An envelope contained 100 crores. Nobody donates like this. We give money like this only in pilgrimages. We don't, people would not donate, my lord, anonymously. In Srinathji, my lord, people would donate 100 crores without any name. It would be an anonymous donation because that is, Tirumala. That's what I'm saying. But that is, my lord, again, idealistic way. Practically, the party.
Even that is not idealistic. Because the assumption is that the Almighty knows who has put money in the hundu.
Your lordship, I bow down, my lord. There is no confidentiality. My lord, even the person also knows why he is donating. That is reflection of the fact that there is a line in Ganges for, my lord, because they know कि बहुत पाप किए धोना जाना पड़ेगा. So people also know that. But, my lord, the party who receives knows who has given. That you can never, my lord, come out of. There cannot be any system where the donor and donee each other would not know.
But then, so Tushar Mehta, if this is so, why not make everything open?
But, my lord, then the purpose is defeated. As I, my lord,
As it is, everybody knows about, or partly knows about it, partly they know about it. Only person who's being deprived is the voter. Your contention that the voters do not have the right to know after the number of decisions of this court. It's slightly difficult.
No,
to
my lord, voter, my lord,
Because they would know that they should
no,
know.
then I bow down and we go back to, my lord, the earlier policy.
No,
That's the only answer.
No, it's not like that. That's why we said we are not for a moment saying that, look, there are 3 or 4 considerations which are very important. One, the need to reduce the cash element in the electoral process. Very
Which has
important.
reduced, my lord,
Right? Second, the need to encourage the use of authorized banking channels for that purpose,
Correct,
which is
ma'am.
the only way you can reduce the cash
Correct,
element.
ma'am.
That's the second consideration. Third, there is a countervailing consideration. Third is incentivizing the use of the banking channels.
Which is confidentiality according to us.
And therefore, according to incentivizing the use of the authorized banking channels should therefore result in greater confidentiality. But there is a fourth consideration, which is the need for transparency. And a fifth consideration, which is that this should not become a legitimization of kickbacks
Yeah, my lord,
and quid pro quo between
Correct.
the power centers, whether in the states or in the center, and people who are really in that sense, they are benefactors of that power. They are supplicants.
I bow down.
Yes.
I bow down.
So all these. So when the balance is drawn between these, of course, the balance has to be drawn by the legislature and by the executive, not by us. We are quite conscious of that. But it's not therefore that you have an either or. Either you have this or you go back to an entire cash system. You can design another system which does not have the flaws of this system, which really they put a premium on put a premium on opacity. You can still devise a system which balances out in a proportional way. That's the point.
I'll just.
How it is to be done is for you to
Lord,
decide.
I'll just.
We will not go step into that arena. That's no part of our function.
I'll just respond to Malod after showing the scheme, but let me respond the last point first, which is bothering your lordships, that this might be used as legitimized kickback. Well, first of all, whenever your lordships are considering a piece of, my lord, subordinate legislature like a scheme.
Because, in now these 5 considerations which I have listed out, you must now read in the perspective of how it has been implemented. First, there was a cap that your donation must be related to a percentage of net profits. A percentage of net profits meant that the company must be in a position to have net profits, and that you would donate 5% initially, then it became 7.5% under the 2013 Act. Now what have we done? Now we say that, well, it has nothing to do with whether you have net profits or not. In other words, the company may have 0 profits, it may have 0 turnover, but it gets a donation only for it gets a certain income or revenue only for the purpose of the donation. That means
I'll immediately say
that passes muster.
I'll immediately say, and your lordships may, my lord, clarify that if that is the, my lord, any concern, it's the right concern that so far as the condition with regard to the profit-making company, that percentage of a net profit, my lord, a not profit-making company cannot do it. But I understand, because then it would be used as a shell company. That is one of the objectives. We have removed 230,000 shell companies, my lord, from the system.
So what will you do then? You will bring about an amendment to the Companies Act, government.
Let me take your lordships through this.
So you will move an amendment to amend the Companies Act to the effect that
Amending, my lord, is a legislative function. My lord, I cannot make that.
But you have to move the amendment. If you
Yes,
are you,
my lord, or your lordships may, my lord, read it accordingly.
no, is the government making a statement that we will amend the Companies Act to bring back the position what it was, namely that this will be only a percentage of the net profit.
No, I'm not saying percentage. I'm saying profit-making company can only donate.
But tell us something. Assuming that it's a profit making, it may have a 1 rupee profit, it may have a 100 rupee profit.
Yes, my lord.
Why would a company, if you don't have a percentage,
Yes,
why would a company, for what conceivable reason would a company donate 100% of its profits? Because you have to take the extreme case.
yes, my lord.
That's why I give you a 1 rupee company passes the threshold that I'm a profit making company.
I have two answers.
I have a 1 rupee profit, but I will donate 100 crores. Why would a company do that?
I'll not.
Therefore, when, it can't be that, the government says that, well, it can't be that, or we lay down under 142 the principle that so long as you're a profit-making company, you can donate as much as you want. The reason why these caps were introduced and that they stood the test of time were for a very legitimate reason. Namely, that you're a company. Your purpose is to carry on business. Your purpose is not to donate to political parties. And if your purpose is not to donate to political parties, you must donate only a small portion of your, assuming that that's an altruistic motive, which is, of course, not so, but we will not go into it because nobody is challenging the 1956 Act provisions, the 2013 Act provisions. We are now looking at today's challenge.
Well, may I respond to your lordship's concern? And it's a very valid concern, my lord. We share that concern. But what was the reason why that was removed? The experience had shown that in a given sector, my lord, for example, where the business environment should be business friendly, my lord, in terms of the administrative or political setup, some companies wanted to donate, say, 10% or 15%. Correct? Now there was a cap, 7.5%. What used to happen was that company would create shell companies. So I would, as a main company, donate 7.5%, and from that shell company, I would donate 7.5% to make it 15. With a view to discourage creation of shell companies, we have said that it is the company doing the business through the managing director, through the board of directors, which are trusted by the shareholders. And therefore, if they want to donate more than 7.5%, let them do it. Let that discretion remain with that. As a government or as a parliament, it's none of our business to prescribe that ceiling. They don't use more than 7.5%. So that was the purpose. The purpose was to disincentivize creation of shell companies to do what they wanted to do. But now you do it.
But that you
Number
can
two, number two.
You can
Number two.
disincentivize that
Allow me to
by
say.
having narrowly tailored provisions. For instance, that you must carry on business for a certain stipulated period. You must have a certain asset base. You must have a certain turnover. These are all, usually accepted yardsticks under the Income Tax Act to prevent a shell company from carrying on activity. That you must have a certain degree of business turnover, capital, assets before you can donate. That makes sure that you don't have a shell company. You can put all these things in place. There's no difficulty. That will obviate your concern of shell companies.
I bowed. Another thing which weighed with the government, and I'm just trying to satisfy your lordship's conscience about the positive approach with which, my lord, we approach this problem.
Mr. Solicitor, we don't have to go into the motives of the government at all.
No, I'm giving the reason.
Fault. I mean, the constitutional court is no part of our function to deal with motives. I mean,
No, certainly. Your lordships may even deal with
this is the rough and tumble of democracy in the country, which we respect, entirely respect. That's why we have this freedom of speech that all of us have in the court, outside the court. So we respect that process.
Which many
the point is, no, but the point really is this. The point really is not that. We don't want to go back now to a cash-only system. No, that's not the purpose of the court. All that we are saying is that do it in a proportional, tailor-made manner, which takes care of the serious deficiencies of this.
Now, my lord, another factor which weighed with the government while coming out this no cap policy was that if some party wants to donate more than 7.5%, and they do not wish to have a shell company also, what would be I'm posing a question to myself, what the company will do?
They will not donate.
No, that's the first idealistic option. But that was not, that didn't used to happen. What they used to do was the balance, they want to donate 10%. The balance 3.5% would come in cash. Now, at least, if they donate 10%, the clean money comes in the system.
Which is not to say that the unclean money is not coming into the system.
See, we are in fact going into there are two conflicting rights in a way coming from. One is confidentiality, the other is check on kickbacks or quid pro quo. These are times.
My lord, I would, my lord, earnestly urge, my lord, I would earnestly urge, my lord, I would earnestly urge, dealing with a subject, my lord, which is bothering everyone, my lord, to start with a presumption that every contribution should necessarily be a part of corruption may perhaps be a wrong, my lord, way of, my lord, looking at things. It may be that in some cases it can be quid pro quo. In some cases. But, my lord, the experience have suggested that in most cases, the vote, my lord, whoever donates, donors, be it individual contractor, businessman, company, trust, HUF, etc., they donate which kind of a government they want. Maybe out of 110, maybe kickbacks. I'll address that kickback part also.
Would that be valid if a company were to donate even 100% of its revenue? Is that guided by altruistic motives? We quite see everybody doesn't donate, with as a kickback, not at all.
Therefore, my lord, kindly, my lord,
And
do
we
not
also
see
have
this.
companies. We also have companies. All companies cannot be tarred with the same brush in India. You have corporate sector which has contributed to the productive assets of the nation.
But
So
look, they have
we are not at all saying that our
contributed
corporate
to the
sector is therefore
development
tainted.
of the
We shouldn't
nation.
make that assumption.
Well, only a minute, Mr. Sibal. Sibal, sir. No, there was something personal, not, it was not a fun or humor. my lord. Out of concern, I asked something, which I'll right now not share.
That's all right.
We had some concerns. I said, go to my chamber. That's all. Lord, so the idea was that instead of either shell company or paying by cash, let the clean money come into the system. And my lord, clean money has come into the system. Second, whether we like it or not, my lord, industrial houses, commercial houses, corporations, companies, they have, my lord, immensely helped, my lord, in the development of the nation. And now, my lord, as I have shown,
That's what I just said, that, we don't
so
start with the
everyone, my
assumption
lord,
that our
does
corporate
not pay
sector
by
is
kickbacks
tainted.
to, my lord, believe that they need electoral bonds to be used or any other factor to be used to influence the decision making would be, my lord, shutting an eye on the reality. Without that also, my lord, that can be done. And possibly practically, despite, my lord, this white channel being available, both channels might be used by some companies which are, my lord, not kind of good companies. But good companies, my lord, do decide to donate based upon their experience, whether in this regime of the political government, my investment is safe or not, whether the country is going forward or going backward, whether I am.
All right, Mr. Solicitor, we now understand this.
But
Can we do this to sort of, to carry the dialogue further? Should we go straight to the scheme? Because we'd like to hear you on the scheme.
Page 25.
Let's have a look at the scheme so
Page
that
25.
your argument on the scheme will be of value to us. This we have now seen that
Because your
you
lordships
have made your
have-
point, no doubt about it.
Lord, kindly, your lordships have the challenge to a provision which gives away or does away with the cap. Lord, I have given my answer for your lordships to. I think I am clear.
Yes, of course.